While watching the new moon sighting, it felt like a good enlightening. This day is so bright as the first Tarawih is tonight. With family around a nice meal, we're making dua and I feel how nice it is to be so near to those I love.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new program or this new episode of Virtues of Fasting. Hadith number 28 is a hadith that was narrated by Mother Aisha and Mother Salama. May Allah be pleased with them both. They said that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would rise in the morning when it's already Fajr time while he was junub, and this means that he was in the state of major ritual impurity due to intercourse, and that would be on a day in Ramadan. He would then perform ghusl and fast, and this hadith was agreed upon. Now, first of all, this hadith was narrated by Aisha and Salama, may Allah be pleased with them. And they are telling us about something that is private, that no one else would know about the Prophet ﷺ. And as mentioned before so many times, this is one of the advantages of having more than one wife, that the Prophet ﷺ was a role model, and hence whatever happened behind closed doors should be revealed to the ummah so that they would know how to treat their spouses and how they would be in their privacy, etc. And this hadith, Mother Aisha and Mother Salama, may Allah be pleased with them, tell us that the Prophet ﷺ would be intimate with his wife, and hence would be in the state of major ritual impurity, also known in Arabic as janabah. And what is the meaning of janabah? Janabah is a state that it is not something physical you can touch and see, like the word al-hadath. And if you recall, purity or al-tahara is defined as uplifting the hadath and removing the najas. رفع الحدث وإزالة الخبث أو النجس. And what does that mean? You have two things in order for you to be pure. First, you have to be pure physically, and this is done by puring your clothes, your body, and the place where you pray at. This is needed for prayer. So this is physical. If there is an physical impurity, you have to wash it and remove it. And there is a ritual impurity, and this is something that is divided into two, minor and major. The minor one require you to make wudu. So if you pass wind, if you urinate, if you defecate, if you sleep, if you eat camel's meat, in this case, your wudu is void, and you have to perform wudu to uplift the minor ritual impurity. The major ritual impurity are usually referred to two things. One, the sexual ritual impurity. And this is when a person is in the state of janabah, and he is described as junub. So what is janabah or junub? It is a sexual ritual impurity. It's a major impurity. And how does a person reach such a state? By either intercourse with or without ejaculation, or ejaculation with or without intercourse. What is intercourse? This is what happens between a man and a woman, a wife and a husband, and the actual physical intimacy takes place, and the man does his thing. So you cannot go a little bit more in detail. This is a rated PG program. But you get my point, I hope. Now, even if the man does not ejaculate, by the penetration itself, this requires ghusl. The Prophet says, alayhi salam, when the two places of circumcision meet, then ghusl becomes mandatory. And if a person does not have intercourse, yet he ejaculates, and semen comes out, whether from the man or from the female, then again, he or she is in the state of janaba, the sexual ritual impurity, the major impurity. And this requires that they take a full bath known as ghusl. So, is this related to fasting? Some people think it is related in the sense that I cannot fast while I'm in this state of impurity. But there is another state of impurity as well, and it's considered to be a major impurity. And that is when a woman is in her menses or in her postnatal bleeding after delivering a baby. This period of bleeding is also considered to be hadath akbar, or a major ritual impurity that requires that she refrains from praying and fasting. So now we come back to the issue of fasting. If a person is in the state of major ritual impurity, is he allowed to fast? The answer is given to us by Aisha and Salama, may Allah be pleased with them. They said that the Prophet ﷺ would be in the state of ritual impurity, and the adhan of Fajr will be called, which means that he has to refrain from things that nullify fasting, such as eating, drinking, and intercourse. And yet he is still in the state of major impurity, and this would not prevent him from going and having his ghusl, his total bath, his mandatory obligatory bath, and then go to pray Fajr, and he is fasting during the day of Ramadan. Which means that it is not a requirement to be in the state of purity from sexual intercourse when the adhan is called. What is required is that you do not have intercourse after the adhan is being called, because this is one of the things that nullifies your fasting. But being in the state that was prior to the adhan done, this does not affect the fasting. Is it the same with a woman who is in her menses? Well, let us look. If a woman for 7 days has been having her monthly period, and 5 minutes before the adhan of Fajr, she recognized and she saw the sign of her purity. And how does this, or how does she know that she has become pure? By either the total dryness, the blood completely stops and she's dry, no colored discharges, brownish or yellowish at all, or by the white thread or the white-like thread discharge. If she sees that without any colors, then she knows that she is pure. And immediately after seeing this, with her intention to fast the following day, the adhan of Fajr is being called. So what to do? The answer is, she should take her ghusl, and she should pray and fast without any problem, because she realized that she was pure before the adhan. Unlike someone who knows that she will become pure like 10 o'clock in the morning, or in the noon. So she refrains from eating and drinking and intends to fast that day. In this case, we tell her, when did you see your purity? She says at 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock in the morning. We tell her that in this case, your fasting is invalid, because it is a prerequisite that you see your purity, you recognize and realize your purity before the adhan of Fajr, before the break of dawn. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is giving us the lead, in the sense that it is okay for a person, as mentioned in the Quran, to enjoy his or her spouse the whole night. But the minute the dawn breaks, this has to stop. The case or the state a person is in due to that intimacy does not affect the fasting, and the fasting would be accepted. From this hadith, we learn that even the things that people may be ashamed of, shy, or feel bashful of, they are entitled to say it, to convey it, because this is the only way to learn. And that is why female companions of the Prophet ﷺ used to come and ask him and say, Allah is not bashful of truth. Does a woman have to have ghusl if she sees the ejaculation fluid? And Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, put her hands on her head and said, you've exposed women. What are you saying? What are you doing? You're saying something that we should be ashamed of. And the Prophet forbade her from saying this, ﷺ, because she had to learn her religion. She had to ask, even if it was a bit shameful, but to know your religion, there is no shame in that. Not to know, to continue to be an ignorant, this is the greatest shame on earth that could be possible. So I hope this clarifies the issue. We move on to hadith number 29, and this hadith was also agreed upon. Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever dies while he still has some fasts to make up, then his heir should fast on his behalf. And this was agreed upon. Now the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that whoever dies and he has to fast, but he could not. So what is intended with whoever dies with days he should have fast but he didn't? What is intended? Scholars say that it is referring to only mandatory fasting. So voluntary fasts, you cannot make them up on behalf of a deceased. Only voluntary fasting. And what are the voluntary fastings? 1, making up for Ramadan. 2, expiations. 3, oaths or vows that a person mandated upon himself for a reason or without any reason. So scholars differed, and some of them said, no, it is totally prohibited to fast on behalf of a deceased person. Can we pray on behalf of a deceased person? No. So likewise, we cannot fast. But of course, this is rejected. Their opinion is rejected because the hadith is agreed upon. So Bukhari and Muslim reported it, which gives it the highest ranking and authenticity. Some scholars say that you may fast, but only if the fast is a vow. Why? Because there's a hadith that a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Prophet of Allah, my mother died and she had a vow to fast a month. Should I fast it on her behalf? And the Prophet told him ﷺ, if your mother had a debt, would you have paid it for her? And the man said, yes. So the Prophet said, Allah's debt is more worthy of being paid off. So the Prophet ﷺ gave him the green light to fast on behalf of his mother, the vow that she could not fast or make up for. Third group of scholars said no. With all due respect, the hadith is general. And the hadith is referring to a person who dies with days to be fasted, but he did not fast them. And it would not be logical that the Prophet would give such a general hadith and you say whoever dies with days on him to fast and he could not fast it, then his heir should fast it on his behalf. He could not say this ﷺ, in a general sense, and he refers only to vows which are considered to be very few days compared to the missed days of Ramadan. Because usually people, when they die, they leave a lot of days missed due to their illness, due to their old age, due to any reason. So compare this to the vows, you would find that there is no comparison. People rarely do vows to fast compared to the days missed in Ramadan. So what is intended in this is the fast that is mandatory, whether it is making up for days of Ramadan, whether it is a vow, or whether it is an expiation. Now, is it a must upon the heir? And what is the definition of heir? وَلِيُّهُ صَامَ عَنْهُ وَلِيُّهُ. Some scholars say that only those who inherit would fast on behalf of their deceased. So if you're a son, you may fast on behalf of your father who died with days not made up. Others say no. His heir here refers to anyone that is related to him. So even your cousin who would not inherit can also be included in the hadith. Now, when the Prophet says, ﷺ, his heir should fast, is this an instruction, a recommendation? Is it an order? The most authentic opinion is that this is not an order. This is a recommendation. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal would not burden a soul for something it did not do. وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. Allah Azza wa Jal would not burden me for someone else's sins. I didn't do anything. And hence, it is not mandatory upon me to fast on behalf of my father or on behalf of my brother who died. Likewise, if my father died leaving debts and they came to me wanting me to pay my father's debt, this is not an obligation upon me. I can and may and should give them from whatever my father left behind. So I would get the inheritance before distributing anything of it. The first thing I do, I have to give it to the debtors. And if it ran out without fulfilling their dues, they'd have no right to come and claim it from me. And I don't have to, I'm not obliged to pay them, because this is my father's debt, not mine. And it is not inherited. Likewise, when it comes to fasting, this is something that is recommended, you should do, but it is not mandatory upon you. So who do we have to fast on his behalf after his death? For example, my father fell ill the whole month of Ramadan. And on the day of Eid, he died. Who should fast on his behalf? The answer is no one. Why? Because it was not mandatory upon him to fast. Allah Azza wa Jal told us that those who are ill or traveling, they may fast on later days. Now, did my father get a chance to fast a single day after his illness? The answer is no. He died immediately. Hence, Allah Azza wa Jal would not hold him accountable, and it is not legitimate for us to fast on his behalf. There's no need for that. Likewise, if a person skips the whole of Ramadan and he recovers on the day of Eid and he dies on the 10th day of Eid, meaning that he had the chance to make up for 9 days of Ramadan and he didn't. In this case, his heirs are requested to fast 9 days. What about the remaining 21 days of Ramadan? It's not obligatory upon him because he did not have the chance to fast the whole 30 days. He had only the chance to fast 9 days. Likewise, if he died but had 4 or 5 months of health and recovery and could have fasted but didn't and died, in this case, they are requested to fast the whole month. Can they fast or divide it between them? So if he has 10 children, can each child fast 3 days? So the total would be 30 days? The answer is yes. There's no problem in that. And this does the job for them. What about if a person is chronically ill and he's unable to fast Ramadan and he dies on the day of Eid? What to do? You should expiate. Meaning that you do not fast on his behalf because he's not obliged to fast. He's obliged to feed. So you give the expiation by feeding 30 poor people for the missed days that he did not pay for or did not feed on. Because he's chronically ill. He's not obliged to fast. He's obliged to feed others. What about if a person was chronically ill and he fed the people, and then this was his habit for 5-6 years, feeding the people every Ramadan, but this particular year he felt much better and for 3 months he could have fasted, he got his health back, and he died. Do we fast on his behalf? The answer is no, because when he fed for the whole month of Ramadan, he was entitled for that because he was chronically ill. His recovery, which was unexpected, and the doctor said, no, you should not have recovered. This does not count, and what is gone, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. What about if he is obliged to fast consecutive number of days? And this is, for example, if a person is ordered to fast 2 consecutive months, as in the case of killing someone by mistake, as in the case of dhihar, as in the case of having intercourse during the day time of Ramadan while fasting, or as in the case of expiation for breaking an oath. You have to fast 3 days in a row, consecutively. So, can we, in this case, when someone dies, if my father dies and he has to fast 2 consecutive months, can me and my siblings divide these 2 months by one sibling fasting a month continuously and then I follow that immediately and fast the second month? The answer is no. Whatever requires to be consecutive, to be in a row, it has to be performed, it has to be done by one particular or one single individual. You cannot break it because it was made to be consecutive. So giving it to 2 people would defy the purpose of its obligation. And well, I think that this is about it. And again, it is not mandatory upon the heirs. It is highly recommended. And a lot of the people say, okay, why then can't we fast Mondays and Thursdays on behalf of our loved one? Why can't we fast the white days for them? Because this would become an innovation. Had it not been for this hadith, making up for missed days for a deceased would have been an innovation, because we don't have this. The things that we can offer to our loved ones who have died are mentioned in hadiths, such as dua, and this is the best thing you can do. Secondly, charity, giving money, as in the hadith of Sa'd bin Ubadah, may Allah be pleased with him, and other companions. Thirdly, Hajj and Umrah. So you can do Umrah badal, and you can do Hajj badal. Umrah badal, this is possible by appointing someone, even if you are somewhere away and abroad, by paying a few dollars, few $100s, you can get someone appointed to make Umrah. By paying a little bit more, of course, you can get someone to make Hajj on behalf of your father, behalf of your grandfather, on behalf of your loved ones. So these are the things that the Prophet ﷺ told us about. Never ever he told us to recite the Quran. Never ever he told us to fast voluntary fasts, but only to fast the mandatory fasts, etc. I believe that this is all the time we have for the first segment. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
For them happiness let us all bring. Ramadan, Ramadan, from reading
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us in the Quran saying, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Hasten to the forgiveness of your Lord and to paradise, the width of which is the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous and pious. Brothers and sisters in Islam, especially in the month of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that when the first night of the month of Ramadan is here, the devils are chained, and a caller will call upon you, O seekers of goodness, come forth. Ya baghi al-khayr, aqbil. Hasten to goodness is our show in Ramadan. Join me, Kareem Abu Zaid, every night in the month of Ramadan and learn how can we hasten to goodness.
And a sadaqah to the ones who are in great need, helping them to build their lives again. For them happiness let us all bring. Ramadan, Ramadan.
TV commercials motivate viewers into immediate action and to sway consumer loyalty from one brand or service to the other. That's why we're here for you, to help you sell your products and services by using creative ideas that bring life into your own TV commercial. Advertise your business and branded products and services on Huda TV. We will offer you fast-paced and energetic 30-second affordable TV spots. Advertise on Huda TV. Acquire fresh customers and stay within your budget. For more info or to receive a quote, please send your inquiries to advert@Huda TV. Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We have Saadia from Saudi.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine. Jazakumullah khair for asking.
I have two questions.
Yes.
One is that my husband, he came close to me during the fast, but it was not a complete discharge. It was like that usually happens when you intercourse, or it's just a discharge in case when you come closer to your spouse.
Okay.
So has his fast nullified? If yes, so what is the punishment, or what should I do to for this fast?
So there was no penetration? And there
It was penetration, but not like in case you intercourse or complete discharge, you can say.
But the penetration was there?
Yes, penetration was there.
Okay.
And second is that my father has gifted his house to one of his daughter. That is almost half of his property during his life.
And he wrote it, he gave it to her, or wrote it as a will?
Yes, no, not as a will. He gave it to her as a gift during his life.
Okay.
So is it lawful?
I will answer your question, inshallah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sarah from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have a question just listening to you previously speaking. My father died and he had taken some loan from his brother. Now the grandfather's property is being divided, and one of the uncles says, because your father took a loan from us, therefore we will cut your share of the inheritance so that you pay the loan that the father took. Now, is this correct?
Okay.
And my second question is, a very dear friend of ours married a non-Muslim girl and a Christian girl, and he, to please her, he said, okay, I'll turn into a Christian. And then his parents, when they got to know that marriage finished, and he, on his mother's assistance, went and did Shahada again, although he said, I didn't do it by heart and everything. Now, when their property is being distributed, they have said you cannot get any property because during the lifetime of your father, you changed your religion. Could you enlighten us if that's correct, whether he is able to get some property from his father because of his action?
I will answer your question, inshallah. You're welcome. Abdul Rahman.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions.
Yes.
In Witr Salah, I generally pray at home, so I complete all Isha, Taraweeh and Witr. Then I will wake up in the night and I pray Tahajjud. Is it okay?
Why don't you delay the Witr after Tahajjud?
Yeah, that's what I want. It is compulsory to do that, or?
Yeah, this is highly recommended. As long as you know that you're going to wake up, definitely.
Okay. And my second question is, somebody told me that the fire in Jahannam will not touch the person who recites Allahumma ajinni minan nar after Fajr and Maghrib. Is this correct? And third question is, in WhatsApp, like Islamic messages to our cousins, families and friends, can we send the Islamic messages to all in the group, like to all my cousins, families and friends also? Because one of my cousin brother, he told me that whatever I am sending the Islamic videos are very useful to them, and they are learning much, they are educated with this. So is it correct to do this chatting in WhatsApp?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Farhat from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions. First, my daughter, she's 6 years old and she says she wants to fast. But what if she breaks the fast? Even she has to do the kafara?
Okay.
And the second is, people sit and pray or perform the salah without any reason. Means if simply they are tired or like that. So is it allowed to sit and pray in the salah without any reason?
Mandatory salah or voluntary?
Mandatory, first.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third is, if the husband has an ejaculation without the intercourse, but the liquid does not touch the wife's body, in that case, does the wife also have to take the ghusl?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
Jazakallah.
Wajazak. Agha from Saudi.
Sheikh, salam alaikum.
Salam wa
Sheikh, is it okay to mix Zamzam, to mix some other water, other normal drinking water with Zamzam, utilize it for the long period if I have the little quantity,
Okay.
and use it as Zamzam?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, Sheikh, from tomorrow.
Inshallah.
Every day I want to ask, Sheikh.
Inshallah. Okay, you're welcome. Saadia says that her husband had intercourse with her, but he did not ejaculate. The penetration itself without ejaculation requires the general or the major expiation, which is to free a slave, or if this is not possible, to fast 2 consecutive months, if not possible, to feed 60 poor people. And this is without any dispute among scholars. If there is an intercourse, this takes place immediately, and this is for both man and women, even if there is no ejaculation. We have Aisha from Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
I have 3 questions.
Yes.
First question is, my mother is going for Hajj, and this is her first time. So she doesn't know if after Ihram, can she, after the niyyah of Ihram, can she change her clothes since it's a long duration?
Okay.
And my second question is, during Salah, at every point of the Salah, your focus should be on the sujood area, yeah?
Correct.
And my third question is...
This was your question?
Yeah. My mother, she has to give her zakat. So, can they send the money to Gaza, since there's the war going on over there?
Okay. I will answer your questions, inshallah. Iman from Saudi.
Assalamu
alaikum.
I have a couple of questions. My first question is about my sister lives in the UK, and she doesn't have any mosque near her house, so they do not hear adhan for starting their fast. Now the thing is that she has suhoor time and the prayer time, and she woke up at the prayer time and she thought it was the suhoor time, and she started eating, and there's a difference of 15 minutes, so she just ate for 10 minutes and then assumed that the fasting has begun. So is her fast valid, or she has to make up for this one?
Okay.
And my mother-in-law, she just pays the expiation, and as she cannot fast. So does she have to pay the expiation every day to a person, or if she pays once for 30 days, is it okay or not?
Okay, I will answer you.
One more question. It is like, I've heard that if a person is like dying, and they say that, people say that we should recite Surah Yasin beside them so that it becomes easier for the one like that. Does it make, does it do anything by reciting Surah Yasin?
I will answer you, inshallah. Aisha from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Sir, I have one question, please.
Yes.
Is it allowed to apply perfume while fasting?
As what?
Apply perfume while fasting.
Applying perfume?
Yes, while fasting.
Okay. I will answer you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Saadiya's second question, that a father gave his daughter a property which is approximately half of his wealth. Is this permissible? If he has only 2 daughters, this is permissible if he's going to give the other half to the other daughter. But if he's unfair with his offspring, this is a major sin and it is not permissible, and he will be punished for that on the Day of Judgment. She says that Sarah, her first question, her father died leaving a debt to his brother, but their father, the grandfather, had property which her father, her uncles had share in. So now, after the father is dead, his brother wants money from him. So they went to look into his wealth and could not find anything to pay off for the debt. So the uncle said, due to the fact that your father who died has inheritance from his father, who is your grandfather, in this case, we will take your uncle's debt from your father's share in that. Is this right? Yes, this is totally correct, and they are allowed to do this so that your father would rest in peace, inshallah. As for her second question, her brother committed an act of apostasy and became Christian. And while he was Christian, his father died. And then afterwards he separated from that woman and he accepted Islam back again. So is he entitled to inherit his father? The answer is no. Because one of the conditions that a person can inherit another is that they share the same religion when the deceased dies. So due to the fact that your father died when he was an apostate, he has no right in his inheritance. We have Abdullah from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions.
Yes.
I live in Taif, and I came to Jeddah to drop my son, and I want to go for Umrah. Now the question is my miqat Taif? Do I have to go back to Taif to get myself mahram, or can I do it from Jeddah?
Where did you make the intention to make Umrah?
In Taif, but I'm not mahram right now. I just came from Taif, but
You have to go back.
I didn't do the intention. I want to go to Mecca now.
You have to go back. You have to go back because your intention before you left Taif is that you make Umrah. This means you have to make your ihram from miqat from Wadi Mahrim. So go back again.
Okay. My second question is: people from Taif or Jeddah, when they go to Mecca, do they have to pray al-Qasr?
From Taif to Mecca, no.
And from Jeddah to Mecca?
No, they don't, because we consider this to be as a suburb of Mecca. So we don't.
Okay. Can you give some information on i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan? Also, should it be for all the 10 days or should it be for a period of time? And what about if the husband and wife want to be together? Is it allowed during this time?
Okay.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. And we have Muhammad from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir.
Assalamualaikum wa barakatuh.
I think because this question will be asked for somebody else. If somebody has he's suffering from anal fissure problem, and pus actually oozes out from that area, does it invalidate the wudu?
So he has a problem with his anus.
Yeah, anal fissure is there, and then now what has happened recently is pus starts oozing out from that area. Suddenly, sometime pus comes out from that area. There's a flow of pus or some fluid from there. So does it invalidate the wudu? And if this condition remains day and night, how does a person read Quran?
Okay, I will try to answer your question, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Muhammad from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward you for good work you are doing.
Ameen, Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, I have two questions. One, I want to find out, is it allowed for a pregnant woman, any day that she cannot fast, is it allowed to feed a needy?
Okay.
Or she is to pay back the fasting after the month of Ramadan?
Second question.
The second question, I want to find out, is it permissible for someone to perform Hajj or Umrah for his late father or mother?
Okay, I will answer your question, inshallah.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazak akhi. Okay, Abdurrahman's question, she says that, is it true that a person would be saved from hell if he seeks Allah's refuge from hell 3 or 7 times after Maghrib and after Fajr? There is a hadith that whenever a person says this, the hellfire says, "Oh Allah, protect him from me." But this does not mean that he would not be punished for what he had done. This is up to Allah whether to forgive or not, as this is the manhaj of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, unlike the Khawarij. The Khawarij say that whoever makes a major sin, he is doomed in hell forever, and he is like a kafir. The Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah say no, those who do major sins, they are to be punished. But at the end of the day, it is Allah's decision whether to forgive or to punish them. She says that, is it permissible to send Islamic WhatsApp or messages or on Facebook, on Twitter to my non-mahram men, relatives, cousins, etc.? The answer is no. You should refrain from doing that. And if there is a need to do that, let your brother do it or your father do it, because this breaks the ice. At the beginning, it is, mashallah, jazakallah khair, my cousin, this is fun, this is nice. What about this question? What about that? And it leads to the traps of shaitan. You should refrain from that. Farhat from Saudi Arabia, she says that her daughter is 6 years old. So if she breaks her fast, is there any expiation? Let me rephrase that. You are 35 years old. If you break your fast, is there any expiation? No. There's no expiation except for those who have intercourse during the day of Ramadan. Those who intentionally, deliberately break their fast, they are sinful. But they have to make up for that day. A day for a day. Nothing to be paid. Now for your 6 years old daughter, we say, Jazakallah khair, thank you very much. It's very good of you to have fasted, but if she breaks her fast, there's nothing for her to do. This is she should be trained, but no expiation, inshallah. She says that I've noticed some people pray sitting down, mandatory prayers, fard prayers, without any excuse. Well, their prayer is invalid. There are pillars for prayers. Some say 14, some say 16, some say 15. And the first pillar of the pillars of praying, mandatory praying, is to stand up when you're able to do. So if you don't have any legitimate excuse, your prayer is invalid. So if it's voluntary, yes, they can pray sitting down, they will get half of the reward. But if it's a mandatory prayer, it is a must for them to stand up. And if they don't, their prayer is invalid. She said that if a husband ejaculates, but without any penetration, without any intercourse, and does this require the wife to have an obligatory bath, a ritual bath as well? The answer is no, as long as she did not ejaculate, even if she get in contact with the semen. This does not affect her status of purity. She does not need to perform ghusl. Agha says, what's the ruling on mixing Zamzam water with other water? This was reported by some of the companions. Whenever they got water from Mecca to Medina, it was a long journey. So when it came to run out, they used to add water to it so that the blessing would continue. This is permissible, especially for those who are living abroad. Aisha from the Emirates says that her mother is going for Hajj. What's the ruling on changing her clothes? No problem. If you want to change your clothes every single day, there's no problem. Even a man, when he's wearing his ihram, it is permissible for him to shower and to change his ihram without any problem. During prayer, should we look at the place of prostration? When standing, yes. When bowing, some say that you look exactly underneath your head, which is in the middle area. Some say you look at the place of prostration. Some say look between your legs. So it seems that there is a room for maneuver. When you're sitting down, you look at your finger as you are moving it in tashahhud. So you constantly keep on looking at your finger while you're moving it. Third question for Aisha was, can we send zakat money to Gaza? The answer is yes. They are poor, they are needy, they are doing jihad fi sabilillah, so everything fits them, as long as you know that the agency or the person delivering the zakah would give it to those who need it and eligible for it. Iman says that she lives in the UK and she doesn't have any masjid next to her home, and even if she did, they don't call the adhan like we are privileged to do in Muslim world, alhamdulillah azza wa jal. So she says that there is a difference of 15 minutes between the prayer time and the suhoor time, and this is something I did not understand. If she meant by prayer time, meaning when people actually have the iqamah, then yes. But if she means that it is a time of adhan, the time of the adhan is the time where you should stop eating, not 15 minutes before. She said both ways, that she woke up and she thought that it was still time. She ate for 10 minutes and not knowing that it is the time of Fajr. No problem. If a person wakes up in the middle of the night or just before Fajr thinking that it is still night, and he eats and drinks and feasts thinking that it is still night, and then he finds out that the adhan was called half an hour ago, there's no problem with him. His fasting is correct. Her aunt, she asks that she is unable to fast because of her age or because of her chronic illness. So she says, can she feed the same person 30 meals? We've addressed this point yesterday, and we said that she can feed the same person every day of Ramadan. So today is like what, Wednesday? She feeds this person after Maghrib. Tomorrow, Thursday, she feeds him after Maghrib again. So every day she is feeding the same person, no problem. But if she collects the 30 days at the end of the month, and she buys food sufficient for 30 meals, and she gives it to the same person, this does not do the job. She has to give the food to 30 different poor people. She says, what's the ruling on reciting Yasin for the person who's dying or for a deceased? The answer is the hadith is weak, it's not authentic, so it is not part of the sunnah. Aisha from Saudi Arabia says, what's the ruling on wearing perfume while fasting? Does it affect fasting? No, it doesn't. But as a female, you know that you cannot wear perfume and then pass by or go out of your home where a non-mahram would find your scent. This is totally prohibited. Abdullah from Saudi Arabia, she says, can you talk to us about i'tikaf, the duration and the relationship between a man and his wife? I believe that we will discuss this inshallah in a couple of days' time, so I'd rather keep it all and give it to you as a package deal. If we have any callers, we can take their questions now, inshallah. Muhammad from the Emirates says that a person has an illness and he's got pus coming out from his anus. So does this void his fasting? If it's coming from inside, then it does void his fasting. But if it's coming from a wound or from something that is around the anus, not from the inside, deep down inside, then it does not affect his fasting. Okay, we have Molly from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salatullah.
My son just bought a house and it's on mortgage, and I was listening to one of your programs and they say anything to do with riba or interest is haram. So how can we living abroad, how do we help him not to get into this state? Can we pay his house outright, or and he can pay us back in installment? Is that okay?
Okay, I will answer your question.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's assume that Muhammad's question about this person who's got this pus coming frequently, how does he perform wudu or recite the Quran? This is called the continuous najasa that is coming out, like someone who has a problem with urine and he's dripping all day long. In this case, the scholars say that when the adhan is called, when the time of prayer is due, you change whatever is tarnished or has najasa, you perform wudu and you go. From the time of the prayer to the second time of the prayer, you can pray and read the Quran regardless of what comes out from you. Aisha from Saudi.
Yes.
Listen to me from the phone, please, and mute your television.
Okay. Should I ask my question?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask about brushing the teeth during Ramadan. Like you wake up in the afternoon. And I also want to ask about Salatul Tasbih.
Okay.
Yes. Those are my two questions.
I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay.
Okay. And Muhammad from Nigeria, he says, a pregnant woman, can she skip fasting and give expiation, or she must skip fasting and make up for the missed days later on? The answer is, if she is capable and strong enough to fast, she must fast. But if she's afraid for her health or for her child's health, in this case she can skip fasting, but she can make it up later on, inshallah. Can we make Umrah or Hajj on behalf of our deceased father, mother, uncles, cousins, loved ones, friends, neighbors? The answer is yes, you can do that. Molly says that her son bought a house on mortgage. It's riba based. So what can we do? If the price is fixed, so he bought the house for $300,000 and the lump sum is fixed, it will never go up or down due to inflation or due to the interest rate coming up or down. If it's $300,000 and he's stuck with it, and now he's asking Allah for forgiveness and repented, but he's paying installments, it would never increase, not a single penny. In this case, no. Let him pay it for the duration, for 10 years or whatever they have agreed upon, because it's fixed. But if it goes up and down, meaning that there is a possibility that it would add $50,000 more or $100,000 more, in this case, this is a must get away situation. You have to bail him out, give him the whole money, and then let him pay it in installments to you, because this is reoccurring interest, and the riba and the curse of Allah is reoccurring upon him. Finally, Aisha says, what's the ruling on brushing the teeth in the afternoon? This is permissible, providing you don't swallow any of the toothpaste. And what's the ruling on Salatul Tasabih? This is an innovated prayer, and it is not authentic. You should not do it. You should avoid it. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet tomorrow, same time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
While watching the new moon sighting, it felt like a good enlightening. This day is so bright as the first Tarawih is tonight. With family around a nice meal, we're making dua and I feel how nice it is to be so near to those I love. Whenever we think of Ramadan, all the good things that we need to do and plan, it's not always easy, but we'll do the best we can.